Okay. All right, we're here. Who's playing for our team? Furious Tiger and Elvis. Thank you, guys. All right, I need to also to. So let's play something. I'll need to do the pause after this. That's 3-0, yeah. Yeah, let's not pre-move here because some wise people move the knight and put the bishop here for the trade. So let's not do that. Should be live, I think. Yeah, I think I'm live, yeah? Yes, I'm live. All right. So do the usual thing. Do the usual thing. And we need to put the club information on the chat. All right, should be in the chat. And manually hide for myself. Chess. Yes, Mr. Montserrat. Chess. We're playing chess here in this house. The house of chess. So, symmetric development, regardless of how black plays. The king is not decided. The bishop is not protected, but there might be some possibility of an attack somewhere. So let's play this, prevent knight b4. This is why pawns are important here. Take away some critical squares, but now I can play a4 because now this knight has this square. And we can actually castle. Let's put this knight here. Now that his pawn is here, this knight can only be pushed by the means of playing something like this, yeah. And then if I play this, he has some tactics maybe. I can also play this, then he goes back. And last but not least, I can play this move, yeah. I mean, I got the square too. So the important thing is not to blunder things. Okay, let's protect the bishop. The knight here also prevents this movement. And now we can push forwards. The bishop is protected. No more tricks like this. And of course he blunders the exchange, but do we want to take it? Probably not. But now this guy is running into some problems. Probably this. Take. Play this. Yeah, he's actually playing pretty well. He's actually playing pretty well. I don't know, we gotta push something somewhere. Maybe even here. Well, obviously he is completely lost. Alright, let's go, guys. We got 4 people playing. Arsenal here. Furious Tiger. Good, thank you. Hello, Mr. Falcon. How are you? Alright, I need to get a little bit more comfortable. And we're gonna keep playing Hippo. Keep educating people about Hippo. Opening. It's very reasonable. You don't... but then you can play like this. Then becomes kind of a meme zone. So f5 is very strong. It's a very strong move. And now I have to be pretty careful because this knight has to be developed very precisely. Can probably play this, hit the pawn. Potentially I could have taken this thing too. Now I can play this. And close the flank. King is ready to castle this way. Take with this pawn, not with this pawn. Because knight needs to be developed. This is another very strong move by my opponent. Knight h7 was much stronger, because then I must play this. And now white is completely winning. Because he gives me free material. Okay, more free material. Okay, knight is really well placed here, protects everything, stops the pawns, creates threats. One check is just a check. I have some checks of my own. Do I want them? I'm not sure. But we can hit some weaknesses. Get the bishop into the game because it was closed with this pawn chain. Now we're hitting all these things. Fine, more material. More material. I could actually give a check and take the rook here, but okay, at this point I'm too relaxed. Too relaxed. Not a bad play by this 1800, but he missed a lot of tactics. Unknown Super GM with an FM title. I don't understand why people with FM titles, they put the GMs in their nicknames. GM is something you need to earn. You can't just name yourself a GM. It's also very misleading to the public. feel names with the chess titles should be completely forbidden. Unless you actually earn the title. Okay. Alright, so the tournament just recently started. We have still 1 hour and 25 minutes. There we go. We have 2,400 player now. And we're still gonna play this, obviously. We're gonna do it with this move order. Because we don't know where this knight goes. Sometimes the knight can even go here. So it's problematic. But this is useful because we're kind of aiming for the beards with this a6, b5 line. h5 is also quite playable. And the knight goes to f6. But I just don't like to give squares for opponent's pieces, to be honest. So now white has to do something, which is not so simple. He actually gives me this pawn for some reason. Fine, I'll take it. Just go back. Okay, it's actually important pawn, so I'm not complaining. G4 potentially is coming, so this is fine. Okay, let's probably can even play this. If you don't like the pins like me, you can play moves like that. The king is kind of open, yeah, but can he use it? That's the thing, yeah. It's probably kind of dangerous to do this. Too many things going on, so it's. But if I play safe, yeah, okay, let's play safe. Let's play safe. I can't castle him. It's somewhat a problem. Yeah, now it has to be very precise. If he wants to do something. This is a very precise move, yeah. Good job. He's calculating this line. But instead he plays this. Okay. Alright, fine, it's an endgame then. Actually, okay, 1 second. I need to do this. I need to do this. Okay. Okay, and then there is this idea. So that you play like this and he doesn't have a 5. Can still try to play 5, I guess, yeah. Play 5. Stop this, absolutely must. It's pretty good bishop. Good idea to trade it. Okay, it's a pawn. It's a pawn, kind of important pawn. That was kind of an important pawn. Play 5, but okay, king b8, play safe. H4, open the king, so he's not feeling completely invulnerable. D5 is possible, but why? Trade pieces. Otherwise, things are getting a little bit hairy for him. Also open the queen here. Well, if you want to allow knight f4, I'm very happy. Obviously. Probably here. Should not allow the rook there. Can take with the bishop, of course, win immediately, but okay, this does not spoil things, I think. This sure does not spoil things. Now this is a pin. Okay. All right. Let's see. We're actually doing not so bad, thank you guys. Wow. H5, H4, have not seen much, to be honest. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So let's play b4. closer to the position, and okay, I can't castle here, which you obviously saw. I think I can't take this pawn though. Why cannot take this pawn? It's a good pawn, also he can't easily castle. Okay, he wants to blunder the rook, that's fine with me. He blunders the bishop too. Okay. Yeah, okay. That works. And we have 5 people playing. Thank you guys. Mr. Falcon, join us. Great. Thanks very much. Elvis and Furious Tiger close behind. Arsenal is 4th. Mr. Falcon is 5th. But hopefully we do well today. Ah! Why did I press this? Oh my god, I should not have pressed it. I should not have pressed it. Why did I press it? I should not press the berserk. I'm very bad with time management. Really bad. I don't think you have a lot of moves, man. You have some choices, but not too many. Yeah, okay, but I have more material, obviously. But I blundered. And he is lost. Just blundered too much material to me. Yes, I'm old, but I played bullets, when I was younger also, So the important thing for me is not to blunder stuff. And not to get into extended game. because then I get flagged. No, I'm not gonna berserk this time. Nice, you're from me draw. Kind of curious. Kind of curious why is he offering me a draw. Ah, because I have this, yeah. Like, you can play that. I kind of need this knight. Kind of need this knight. Game is fine. I know people hate endgames, but you gotta learn how to love them. Ooh, that is serious stuff. That is some serious stuff. Ah, has this move. That I forgot. That move I forgot, I admit. Okay, not bad. Still, superior pawn structure should be a win. He's got double pawns versus so the big question, how is he gonna play here? Yeah, I misplayed it. I misplayed it, but still winning. I have so many pawns. I have hell of a lot of pawns. Okay. Let's see. We still have 5 very, very loyal people playing. Arsenal moving to the 2nd place. Good job, Mr. Falcon. Place number 4. Excellent work, people. Then I pretty much always take here and play this. And it is a Nimzo. It's kind of a Nimzo. It's kind of a Nimzo. this. Throwing the queen out there, so it will be useful. This bishop is kind of important. Ah, that's very nice trick. That is a very nice trick. My queen now is not that great, yeah. Yeah, okay. Very precise play by this gentleman. So this will be another report for today. Pretty obvious. Pretty obvious reports. Okay. We need to take care of some squares. Here. Queen f4 back. Still, if he makes a single mistake, if he is not too precise, then he is just strategically lost. So let's see if he is very precise until the end. Rook f3 is coming again. Can't really play that. Ah, that's this move. This move I've missed. Fine. Fine. It's kind of very sad when people cheat in their games. Miss the bishop g6. Thank you for allowing this. Yeah. Mixing engine moves with your own does not go well together, you know. It never ends well. Alright, that guy was reported. Okay. f2 for obvious reasons. Bishop c5 is what I recommend with for black, so not a bad choice. Then again, this knight h4 maybe, yeah. h5, queen takes, bishop takes, go back. Well, it just gave me a whole piece, so I'm pretty happy with my position. Pretty happy with my position. Just castle, so he doesn't have anything like d4. I'll still take this. Do I offer coaching? Yeah, I do. Actually, for September, you guys are very lucky. I normally charge $100 an hour. I teach mostly intermediate to advanced students, but for September month, you get 50% off if you're my subscriber. So that's $50 an hour. It's pretty cheap. So. Alright, this is pretty interesting way of playing. It's like Scandinavian, you know. It's like Scandinavian. Like h5 maybe. Stop this bishop g3. Well, I just said I wanted to do this. Okay, it is playable. Thank God it is playable. It's not a draw. You're worse. Your king is worse, man. Your king is worse. Just gotta play it correctly. Just gotta play it correctly. Making my life complicated, yeah. Okay, good job. Yeah, probably he is winning actually now, yeah. I should not have traded this rook for sure. Should not have traded this rook for sure. This is the only move. Now he gets a lot of pawns. For no reason. Thank you. No, I have no plans playing on chess.com. Nope. Yeah, that was actually the negative behind d6, playing so early. So this guy uncovered my weakness. I think we got a follower. Thanks very much. Knight d5 is always unpleasant in these positions, so this is kind of mandatory. So now the bigger question is like, what are we gonna do next? Yeah, he's doing something preventing all my things here. I'm doing my best to prevent his things here. It's probably a good time to castle. This bishop needs protection sometimes. 27 was also a very interesting move, instead of castling so early. So this is looking like a standard King's Indian so far. This we can play this, because he doesn't have support. If he takes this pawn, but now, okay, now, like, this is very difficult for him to play. But if he doesn't play, then white has no advantage. So, on the other hand, queen on e7 is not that great. Let's defend the bishop, because we do need to play this anyway. So the bishop is now protected. We can actually take this thing. He does get the square, but okay. He does get the square, yeah. This bishop is kind of bad. So we can play this, yeah. And he just blundered the bishop. Speaking of the bishop which he blundered, yeah, give me too much stuff, yeah. Check. All right. I think I'm the biggest world specialist in the hippo opening. Nobody else plays it except me. I actually used to analyze it, okay? You would guys laugh at it, but I used to analyze this opening as part of my preparation for the World Blitz Championship in 2017. I beat a lot of people with it because I knew the transitions and the middle games. Strong grandmasters, they had no clue. Yeah, it's one of the ways to counter it. You just trade one bishop, yeah. But on the other hand, then we get to play the the end game, which is absolutely fantastic, yeah. I love the middle games, man. The end games, I mean. Right, how do we play this? It's a good question. Probably here. Okay, then probably we just have to play like this. Go for an attack. probably. Yeah, probably want to take it. Ah, I messed it up a little bit, but okay, not much. I messed it up a little bit, but not much, thank God. Okay, he's defending well. He's defending well and just takes that. Alright, then there's not much you can do. There's not much you can do then. Very accurate game from this gentleman. But still he blundered an important pawn. That is the blunder that cost him the game. Yeah. And he's not happy about it, obviously. Tricky grandmasters, yes. Even at dead drawn positions, you still have to be accurate. Even dead drawn positions, they have potential life in them. Still certain steps that you need to do. Yeah, it's free practice for all these guys in the hippo. Free practice, guys. Enjoy it. But then I have this move. See, you don't always put the knight here. You can actually put him here. Sometimes. Sometimes. Well, if he gives me a pawn, you should take it. If your opponent gives you an important central pawn, you should thank him profusely and be very grateful. No. I'll like my bishop. This bishop is very strong. Very strong. Still play this thematic move. Still play it. So he's got to do something now. Then you can play this. Now that that knight is gone, you can play this knight here. The second knight comes. Well played, buddy. This is correct sequence. This is the correct sequence, yes. You are correct. However, a lot of things are hit. Yeah. So he needs to do something. Ah, come on, man. Oh my god. Oh. Jesus Christ, man. What a mouse slip. What a mouse slip. Terrible. The most horrible mouse slip ever. Gave him the whole queen, man. Gave him the whole fucking queen. Very good technique too. Excellent technique. Yeah. Mouse slip. It happens to the best. Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. Anti-hippo. I get it. Very nice. An anti-hippo. Oh my god is correct. A correct word in this case. Okay, but decent knight, and need to open the bishop. The bishop is open, then we challenge the center. The center is falling. Good news for me. Over here. This is Mega Knight. Mega Knight. And we have 7 people playing. Thank you for coming, guys. Arsenal still second. Mr. Falcon is 4th. Pavel is here. Good job. People mobilizing. Right, and then well, I think it's still 97. Then you can play this, yeah. take it. Don't have to take it immediately. You can take it later. Then you play this on c5. Small problems holding the center. So I'm gonna hit the center. How do we protect this pawn? Yeah? Big question. I don't know. Fine. Take it. Take it immediately. H4, H6. Lots of moves. Lots of good moves. Creative, but should not be sufficient. Bishop g2 probably winning on the spot, but okay. I think that's pretty relevant. Okay, what am I missing? By the way, a link to join our club is at the top of the chat. You can feel free to join the club and jump into the tournament. The link to the tournament is once you join the club, you go to the club's page, is at the top of the tournaments list. It has a little fire sign. So you can start playing for my team, our club. All right? Join the club and start playing. What are you waiting for? E, A5. It's actually not a bad move. Maybe. Maybe. But it will be potentially weak. At some point. Ah. Okay, but you, come on, you can take it, yeah. You can take that pawn, man. Yeah, this is very interesting. I haven't played this before. Very interesting position that I haven't encountered before in my practice. D3 is absolutely terrible. What do you think? Endgame. Yes. Vive la endgame. Well, I can probably take and win this. It's probably completely winning. these bishops and these pawns. Centralized bishops, yeah. Absolutely critical. Alright, let's keep going. GG. Prize money in this event? Nope. We are playing it for the sake of practice and for the sake of our club. The prize money are in the streamers arena, but if you know the history between me and Lichess, I was a streamer in the COVID years, and there was a lot of cheatings, and I called it, and Lichess didn't like it, and they stripped me of my streamer title, which they granted me. So I recently sent them a question, what I need to do to get on this streamer arena, and they said I need to be their official Lichess streamer. But obviously, since they stripped me of that title, I'm not gonna apply for it again. So, and that's the impasse. We are at the point right now. I'm not applying for the title which they stripped me of. Imagine a website strips a legendary grandmaster of his streamer title because he calls on the problems with the website. Okay. So that's the story. It has not okay. This is extremely interesting position. I think the endgame should be better for white because I'm kind of pressing here. So this knight is slightly in the wrong situation. So we're gonna put this knight in the correct situation. But we need to put pressure on this guy, yeah? And also try to do something here. Maybe even rook g5, you know? Double, hit this guy. This knight was a problem anyway, so it was a good idea to regroup him to a better location. Yeah, but now your bishop is unprotected, yes? So it's just a pawn for no reason. Then it's a pawn, it's a second pawn. Your bishop is still unprotected. And you... Alright. Yeah, I mean, cheating problem is everywhere, you know, in any online platform is a fact, okay? And of course, I have huge respect for Lichess. And maybe I did talk about too much cheating on their platform, but the stripping me of the streamer title is like, you know, is incredibly insulting thing to do. Incredibly insulting. So I'll never ask them for that streamer title again. Okay? Never again. Alright, very reasonable. White just plays around, does something here, I do something here. I don't think d4 is correct, but it's playable, why not? takes e5, b4. What is this position? This very crazy position. But I think I should be fine here. This is kind of nuts position. All right, so how are we gonna play here? I don't know. I don't know. This is an incredibly interesting move. So I take. Gotta take something, obviously. Take something somewhere. And then you're gonna play this. Okay. Wait, what? Huh? This is actually incredibly interesting. Wow. This is very interesting. But you know, bishop is hanging compared to bishop on c5. So you don't have time for taking this pawn, and of course I hit the bishop, you know. Of course I hit the bishop a few times. Okay. But I'm actually extremely curious about this d4, b5. Oh, it's actually correct, wow. But if he just plays, if he plays knight e2, yeah. So I still play this, he plays this, and oh, knight e4, yeah, okay. Okay, this I did not see, okay? I did not see this move, let's be honest. This actually, and wow. He has to play this. And bishop moves. Where? Yeah, then this, okay. So bishop here and then just castle, wow. Damn. So you guys see it, yeah? Piece sack, but his king is wide open and I have 3 pawns and huge initiative. Fun. Okay, not bad. Yeah, that was kind of crazy game. So we are in the 3rd place. Oh, we got more people. Excellent, thank you. Guys, join the club and start playing for our team. Let us get to the top and so you can play better opponents and practice. Okay. See, that's the tricky guy. Now, okay, now we go on to the regular programming. Now we're going to the regular programming. Maybe. Too early, too early. Too early. Should have played queen d2 first, of course. So check, check, and check is a huge threat. How are you gonna protect against that? I see only one defense. It doesn't work. Yeah, see, tactics is important. This tactics is like, okay, especially with the queen here taking the king escape route square, yeah. Taking the exit square. Yeah, I don't see defense, yeah. That's why you shouldn't allow the H file to be opened against your king, okay? Don't, if you think it's harmless, it's not that harmless, okay? Alright. Yeah, if he plays knight f6, you know, then queen h6. But he played queen f6, hoping for my queen h6, and then it's a draw. But okay, you have to be like also very vigilant for your opponent tricks. Again, hippo, because everybody knows theory, and hippo is anti-theoretical move. Hippo is anti-theoretical. What? Where is your bishop going? Where's that big bad boy going? Oh my god, just give me every... Okay. Yeah, g3 was probably mouse slip, yeah? h3 and bishop back or something. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, 20 minutes. Guys, the link to the club is at the top of the chat. If you suddenly... e4 is correct. And then you should take with the bishop, not the knight. But knight takes, I guess, is also fine. Yeah, that's the line for white. It's advantage for white. In the London system. Yeah. Somebody said I should write a chess able course on London finally, after all these years. I'm like very hesitant about it. Very hesitant about it. Yeah, h5 seems normal, but I don't want h5. Waiting for this knight to move somewhere more precise. Okay, let's get the bishop. This bishop is kind of nice. Oh, he wants to play a 5, I guess, yeah. Fine. Queen here. And we're gonna safely tuck our king away on this side. Safe is the word. So, pair of bishops. It's not a great pair of bishops, but it's better than nothing. Rooks on the open files, right? Playing what I preach. So, what you guys hear from me on my streams, I actually practice it, okay? So it's not like I'm telling you one thing and then do something else. Then I can take this. Should I though? Should I have taken it though? I don't know. I feel like, you know, now my both bishops are operating, which is great. That queen can jump here. Rook is available on the H file, so things looking good so far. The only problem I have is this knight, but should be able to resolve it one way or another. Thank you for the tempo. Muchas gracias, señor. Yeah, this knight is the only problem, yeah. Alright, let's slowly push the pawns. See what he does. I don't have entry squares, yeah. Knight d4. Very interesting move. Rook on h2 doesn't do much. Maybe here. Alright, let's get rid of this guy. I'm not very happy about this move, but okay. Let's hope it's worth it. Seven. Yeah, probably not a good idea on my part. I'm not sure about this knight b3. The bishop can easily move. Okay. Close this thing. Now this bishop is kind of bad. Okay, well played by this untitled player. Well played. Perfect understanding of the positioning, maneuvering. Except that he allows me to go into the endgame, which I much appreciate. Okay, he's trying to flag me, I guess. That's a pretty weird game, though. Pretty weird game. Okay. The way he played this game, TRB. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Kind of annoying knight. So we protect our own. Protected all entry squares. Now the big question. question. Yeah, okay, fine. I have to do this. Yeah, this knight is very strong on this square because I can never play something like that. Okay, let's castle. I'm gonna need to do something about this knight later. We will need to do something about that knight later, but first this knight finds a nice square here. So let's do that. Centralization has always been a good idea. Okay. Play this. What will happen? Mm-hmm. C4, E3 or something. This is possible. This is possible. Okay, that was kind of a weird game. Probably missed a lot of wins. Probably. A. I can grab the bishop. This is kind of very important bishop, you know? It's kind of very, very important bishop. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it's a very important bishop. Okay. 7. Okay, what did I miss in the chat? You're playing other teams so you can play me. Sounds good. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Okay. C4. Uh, do I want to open this thing or not? Probably I want to open something again. Yeah, definitely I want to open that. Definitely I want to open that. And then I probably want to play this. So I can get the rook with a tempo. Thank you for putting the queen right into the fork. That is very helpful of you. Yes, I thought, yes, you thought you were winning a tempo, but no, you're not. You're losing a tempo now. It's kind of a critical tempo because now your rook is not getting here, yeah? The rook is getting nowhere near. Nowhere near there. Okay. What you don't know is that I'm actually doing a quick analysis of the games of my subscribers who are playing on my team. Okay. I go over one game of each subscriber. So, but of course you don't know that. From the event, immediately after. Well, I'm still playing g4. This is Alekhine thing. Okay, queen here. Actually, not necessary to play this move. Yeah. Could have played g5 and h4 immediately. Still g5. I want to slowly push these pawns, create an attack. d4, thank you for giving the space for my knights. Take 25 check, okay. But now I also have this file, yeah, which is something you shouldn't have given me, to be honest. You should not have given me that. Targets. The queen is no longer here. The pawn is no longer under attack. Okay. Or this guy. And drum roll. Boom. Right? So Pinning for winning. One, two, three moves. Yeah. All right, last game probably for this tournament. Yes, I understand, especially for the adult people to learn new things is not easy. And something complicated is chess, which has so many contradictions. It's not easy, for sure. This is why I offer September back to school special with my coach hours. Normally, I teach intermediate to advanced students for 100 euros an hour. But for September month only, you get the 50% discount if you're my subscriber. Right. You get a 50% off deal. Should I take it? Ooh. Interesting. Yeah, I don't want to take this one. Although this knight is kind of annoying. It is kind of annoying. Knight on e5 is traditionally very strong, yeah. Normally when he plays e5, I play d5, but I decided not to do it in this game. So trying to increase the bishop's range. Range of the bishops, definitely take. Definitely take. Okay, well, how can you complain about this position when the opponent already got weak pawn? You can't. Life is good. Life is excellent. Now are you winning more pawns? So you have only one pawn, but it's whole extra pawn. It is a whole extra pawn. And for the endgame, it's enough to win. Most of the times. Yeah, he's trying to do this bishop f6 thing, e5, bishop f6, yeah. I understand. But I sincerely doubt it's gonna work for you that well, man. Gotta play this, yeah. Gotta do this. Hit the pawn. King to the center. Not the best move, by the way. Not the best move, but okay. Playable. Pinning for winning. Okay, I cannot play this. I cannot. do a lot of things, yeah. Also rook d4 maybe. Something potentially, yeah. Still, king should be centralized. King go should be centralized. Start pushing pawns. We cannot play this. Okay, let's go. Let's go back. Protect. And that was it. Okay, we're in the third place. We're in the third place. We have Furious Tiger, second place. Arsenal, third place. Gaius, Pupus, fourth place. Elvis, fifth place. Mr. Falcon, sixth place. Paul Nefedov, seventh. Rafael Bustamante, eighth place. CZ75, ninth place. And Chess Mitra is on the 10th place. Alright, those of you who are my subscribers, send me your games you want me to look at. Send the link here. Send the link to the chat channel. I'll take a look. Mr. Falcon, unfortunately, you're not my subscriber for some reason. I have no idea why. Alright. I don't know how that happened, but probably your subscription has run out. Yes, yes, okay, Chess Mitra, send me the game here, man. You have the link to your game on Lichess, send it to the chat. Then we can watch it. We can go directly. Arsenal, also, where is your game, man? So we have 2 subscribers right now. We also have... Hallelujah! Thank you for subscribing, Mr. Falcon. Alright, let's take a look at your game then. Alright, knight f6, knight f3, d5, London, c6, e3 is correct. Queen c1 is very, very solid. Here you should play c4. You should play c4, and the reference for you should be my game versus Kramnik, from the Turin Olympiad in 2006. There I played c4, knight c3, and it became sort of Slav reversed. And I think I covered this game in my book, but if you don't have my book, look up that game, okay? Here you don't play c3 because black is symmetrical. Here, just like in the lines here, for example, black plays here, you play c4, and remember how I guys showed you this line? This is what you should aim for. Against the Slav, this is what you should aim for, okay? You should play c4. Don't play c3 against the Slav. Because you play c3 because black plays c5 and challenges your center. Okay, you support the center, which you need to support the center in order to expand. But if he doesn't challenge you in the center, then you can expand yourself. Okay, because it's very difficult for you to attack. Because he supports the center, he will trade you pieces, and there is almost no attack. So you kind of have to switch to the c4. In addition, the queen on b6 will be hit by c5 later. Okay, giving you tempo for the pawn expansion here. All right, bishop d3 is not bad though. This knight d7 is absolutely horrible move. He should get the bishop out. Yeah, that was the idea behind 97, to get your bishop, correct. So, sometimes you can play h3 here, or if you want to be more aggressive, you can play h4, because you notice that there's this idea, yeah. Okay, g6 against your attack. Again, you don't have any advantage now, because your London bishop is gone. So what you can do here is you can play bishop e5. And if they take, you can take with the pawn and try to maximize the benefit of his knight being stranded here, okay? So the idea is to play h3, potentially threatening g4. And then you play c4, knight c3, and play the structure. This is one of the things that you can do. The other thing you can do is leave the bishop here. And you can play this structure, which is more aggressive, okay? And then you play c3. Because your pawns, you have this file, potentially f5. This is all very playable. Bishop g3 is solid, but it's kind of passive. This is where things go wrong. You don't waste time on this move. And it's still pretty equal, correct? Knight f3 looks correct, but you don't have any advantage. Yes, that's true. So what do you do here? Yeah, you can play knight g5, which is fine. Yeah, it's fine. Normally the bishop goes to e2 and rook comes here, and you are preparing for this d4 break, okay? The idea is that if black ever plays d4, like just an example, you want to take and play e4, okay? And I have the blockader here. So sometimes knight h3 f4, but not here, yeah. Ideally the knight should be here, not the bishop. So the bishop here, knight here, and you jump and you hit the pawn, and if he plays d4, knight blockades. Equal position. Yeah, you don't have to play this, yeah. You can just centralize and double d4. Yeah, now you're a little bit better, because this is, as I suggested before, superior pawn structure. All right, let's keep going. Queen c4 I really don't like. Queen should not be here. Queen should be behind. You should be trading rooks, this bishop ideally, and leaving yourself with the queen and knight versus queen and bishop. Okay, if you cannot play e5, then you kind of improve your position. Your knight and bishop, they are okay. Sometimes you can play knight h2 f4, knight f3 back, if you're not worried about, you know, him getting to these squares. It's so important to have these squares under control. Pawn must be here, and if you play f4, make sure the rook does not get here, okay? So the queen trades, okay, it's fine. Yeah, endgame is good. Black is extremely passive. Bishop c4. Of course, take the pawn. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of your move here. Grab the pawn first. Wow. Yeah, so that's your biggest mistake. You didn't take this critical pawn. Okay, and then your rook opens, and then his king is wide open. You're just better, yeah. Because if he plays something like this, you have this knight h4 thing now. Pretty crazy. Or bishop d5 here, yeah. Then you can take this thing because of the pin. So he probably must, yeah, but if he play, yeah. So this is already minus 2 points, 2 pawns. This looks lost. So if you don't play this, you're fine, okay? If you play this, then make sure to continue with the reason why you played it. Otherwise, you just, again, do something. Like, you can put the rook here. Maybe you can even play this, but I'm worried about this. Then you should go back and f4, e5 maybe, knight f3, knight e4, knight here, yeah, then bring the king. The black plays like this, knight c4. Again, you kind of need to look for ways to trade one bishop. And it's very difficult for him to make any progress. Your pieces are pretty good. Rook f1, g4, king here. Finally, you're getting that thing. You're getting this. And once you get that, look, your position is better, yeah? Because once your pawn chain connected, in London system, it's sometimes critical to have pawns on f4, e5, okay? If you get pawn formation like this, you get an advantage because you're like completely ruined black's game. Hey Cheslaver, what's up? Rook d2. What was this line? Bishop here, king h7, bishop here, here. Rook e2, knight d4, rook d2, but see, that's where your tactical vision comes in. That's the whole reason for this rook. Otherwise, this rook has no reason to hit this everything. Yeah, and it's mates. The second thing you can do is you can play this move, but then it's equal. Yeah. So that's the reason. But okay, king h7. King h7. You know what you can do? You can just go back and put the bishop here. And now it's pinned, yeah. So he has to play something like this. And the computer again is going for this bishop d5 thing, because he wants to take the pawn and activate the rooks. But you can also play this. And again, this is better for white. Your pawn structure is much better. He is in total ruins. Extra stuff. And game is winning. Yeah, I'm using the engine here, but okay. The gist is that you should look for ways, because your position is so good, your pieces are also active. His pieces are horrible. Both bishops extremely passive. There should be a tactical solution, all right, in addition to a strategic solution. All right. Have a good night, dude. All right, who is next? Mr. Sub. You send me a game? Okay, good. You're playing white, yeah? So this is a very popular line lately. Bishop g5 is fine. I would recommend you to play g3. This is way more solid for white. But this is fine. Take. Yeah, you can take this pawn, yeah. But this is bad, okay? This is too passive. You should play this, yeah. Here, and then there's several moves to play. Probably can still play this. Because the bishop comes here, you can move even here. Check. He only gets the pawn back. You grab an important bishop, and then you castle, and your king is absolutely safe. Comfortable position. And in fact, white is a little bit better, okay? Because your bishop is now open thanks to this pawn being here. The way you play it later, okay, analyze it yourself and make sure. See, the problem with the openings is that if you only study openings and don't study the transition to the middle game, then you kind of lost the moment, you have to make your own autonomous move first, outside of the engine opening analysis. So you got to study the transitions, extremely important. Knight b1 is pretty passive, but still playable. Knight belongs here, okay? You gotta finish your opening development. You gotta finish your pieces. Knight here, g3, bishop here, and castle. Right? Absolutely necessary. If you play this, then your pawn structure is already quite bad, okay? I'm not even sure he can pose more problems here. But okay, endgame is fine. You're okay. You're okay. King goes here. Okay, make sure king goes there. Because he has moves like knight f5, hitting pawn. That's the whole point of rook e8. King f2, correct. Knight g6. Actually, you're doing really well now, because black doesn't know what to do in this endgame. Do you want to trade the rooks? I don't think you actually should trade the rooks. Your king is in the center, thanks to this pawn. you might potentially land this knight here. And then once the pawn moves, it's much easier for you to, get the rook. So I would not trade the rooks here because the trade of the rooks in this particular scenario favors black, okay? Because once the rooks are traded, it's much easier for him to play because he can blockade this, king comes, and easy game for black. It's still equal, but okay, take, good. Fixing the pawns might be a good idea, but 94 is not bad. Check, okay, another check, and this is probably too many checks, yeah? Probably too many checks. Yeah, I understand, b4, 95 comes here. Which is the reason to ask, do you really need to touch this knight at all? This knight is really already blockading this pawn and taking a lot of squares. So maybe this knight is not so bad. But okay. Go back, go back. e4 is a very logical move. I cannot see how it could be bad. This I really don't like because it's time to think about your king. Okay, your king needs to go somewhere. See, the moment I mention king, the computer plays king e2. So the idea behind this king move here is to leave this pawn to protect the knight. This is actually a pretty complicated endgame, to be honest. These pawns are kind of weak. The bishop is always very strong in the endgame. Always, yeah. Protects squares here, hits these squares. Yeah, you're playing a kind of complicated endgame because knight can hit this guy, and if you play a4, it kind of weakens the support structure here. Yeah, so it's not an easy endgame for sure. So the first thing to do is to ask yourself a question: where should this king be? Yeah. So ideally, the king should be like somewhere in the center, where he can easily reach the king side and the queen side. Okay. Because right now this king on f2 is not that great. So let's see what you've done. g4, it's actually, okay, it's playable. I don't like it, but it's playable. a4, a5, black plays actually. And this is a critical mistake. You have to realize that your position is worse. Once you realize that, then you need to understand that you need to make a draw, okay? And in order for you to make a draw, you need to start simplifying positions, start exchanging stuff. So that's where this move comes in, okay? Now you anticipate this move, so you move the knight. And if king b6, for example, then you can jump here, yeah? So the big problem for black now is you have nice central knights, and it's very difficult for him to make any progress. The only progress he can make if he pushes this pawn and opens the bishop or something, yeah? Yeah, but it's not simple, because your plan is if your king can actually come here to support this pawn and to prevent c5, and then you play a5, you're actually better, because your pawn is far past pawn than this pawn, okay? So you see what I'm saying? If you bring your king in advance before all these exchanges take place, that makes more sense, because you're kind of foreseeing the structure. So here, king needs to support the pawns and be close to the knights and play a role in preventing stuff, okay? So b5 is kind of critical move, because now this pawn is weak and his king is closer to attack your pawn than your king is to defend, okay? That is the problem, yeah. Black is what, 1900s? You can actually safely report this guy because he is playing at engine level, okay? The guy is playing at the engine level. He's playing first line moves, because which human would play f6 here, you know? I would need to think like at least 10 minutes to come up with this move. Because it's not an obvious move. The most obvious human move is to put something king here, knight here, and attack the pawn, okay? This is the engine move. So you see, that's why the computer says king c6, okay? So this is the engine move, and if the guy is 1900, he's playing perfectly this part, okay? So I have huge suspicions about this gentleman, so we're pretty unlucky to run into this guy. He does make a mistake. Knight e5, forcing the knight trade, and then king comes here because your knight takes away the square. Yeah. So king d6, knight back. And you blundered the pawn, yeah? But okay, here you lost anyway. So your only chance was to play here, counter-attack this pawn. And make sure the king does not cross this line. Yeah. Still kind of unpleasant because now you have to kind of allow this pawn trade, but it's not easy for black to win this. But after you blunder this pawn, it's kind of easy win for black, yeah. Pawn comes. Yeah. All right. Questions. What am I missing? All right. It's fine. Come on, there is no bad game. So if every game is very instructive in its own way. The great thing about chess is you never play identical game like in your life, unless some theoretical draw or something. Every game there's always somebody plays something else, or you play something else. Again, it's kind of crazy if you think about it. You probably play in your life hundreds of thousands of games, okay? And there are no exactly same games almost, if it is a full game. Arsenal, did we look at your game, man? Unless you're not interested. If you're not interested, it's cool. Less work for me. Tomorrow will be, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday, yeah? Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. You're interested, okay, good. Whoa, 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 whoa. Good. You're playing aggressive, dynamic chess. I like to see that. H4. Not bad. There is this. If this plan works in King's Indian, it should work in Pierce too. I completely agree. Yeah. And of course, black has to play H5 here. Yeah. If he allows H5, it's already big problems for black. So, guys, if you're playing this with black, remember, don't allow H5. Okay. If you allow H5, you're inviting trouble. And there is all sorts of terrible things happening on the king side. So don't allow that. You can consider playing h6 like I play in a hippo, okay? Because if white kind of tries to play f4, h5, then you play h5, you get the hole. And if you play h5, g5. It's kind of very messy, but it's playable. All right, h5, advantage whites, e5. Okay, human. I don't see a problem with that. The engine suggests h6. So I suggest you analyze this and try to figure out why, okay? But d5 is pretty human. Again, very, very passive. With the knight here, black should play knight d4 for sure. It's very difficult to get this knight out, and then black plays c6, okay? Challenges the center. This knight kind of interrupts your harmonious development a little bit, okay? This is way too passive. Now it's +2. Wow, after 8 moves, black doesn't make an obvious mistake. He is already lost. Aha, f4, you see it, yeah? Because the bishop now is on the wrong diagonal, the knight is here. Black cannot put the knight on e5. You should immediately challenge, especially with the bishop here, because this file opens and you hit this pawn, okay? You're gonna need to play this move anyway, all right? Yeah, you can play positionally, bishop here, queen here, castles, f3, g4, but at some point you'll need to play f4. But, you know, if you can play it immediately, you save yourself a lot of time. Okay? Well, the ancient sees that after knight d4, black is actually okay, because it's not easy to get rid of this knight. Okay, and black follows with c6, d5, he wins the tempo. So that's why the ancient doesn't like this move, okay? Suggests taking queen e5 and etc, etc. But now we're talking that black didn't use his opportunity. He played knight e7, okay, and bishop g5. Still pretty good. Knight g8, f3, again, you don't need it. You can play g4 immediately, yeah. g4 is common because if black plays bishop e7, like somehow you play f3, knight h5, you know, some squares start to get loose. So the idea is to play g4, f3, build this King's Indian wall that white usually builds, restrict this knight, and if black ever plays f5, you can sort of either take and then g-file. You know, black piece is like absolutely horrible. So f3 makes his life a little bit easier. This is terrible. Remember, pinning for winning, immediately get rid of the pinning, okay? The threat is also knight d5, which is kind of crazy. And if you move, it's knight h5, and suddenly it's not clear at all because check is coming. Okay, so you gotta be very, very. Queen d2 is reasonable. Okay, castles. Yeah. So knight d5, you can actually. You saw this, right? Arsenal, have you seen knight d5 in this position? You have to see this, yeah. I mean, it's a common pattern when you have knight, bishop, and bishop here. So, okay. Okay, but now you know, okay, now, because you should be aware of these things. Thankfully to you for your strong position and absolutely terrible knights that you have full compensation, because absolutely horrible position for black pieces, yeah? But still, it's not so simple. Knight c6, you gotta fight for the square. Developments. Grab, if he grabs, grab, and creating threats, yeah, bishop. Also rook f6, queen d7, and okay, he lost, yeah. And you have to see this move, because if you take on f6, might be not enough. Or maybe it is, yeah, because you take this whole bunch of pawns here, yeah, so it is winning. Okay, so you got pretty lucky here, in a way. Knight h5, take. Aha, you see the mistake. Your knight is not doing anything, you need to develop it. So bishop e5, then knight goes to e2. Okay, remove this knight squares, then g4. Complete the bind. Knight b5 is okay, but yeah, this is absolutely horrible move. But queen d8 is what I would play. King d8 would probably not enter my mind. And the idea is if you keep hitting it, you don't take it, yeah? Just play like this. And then you see the evaluation, black is actually completely okay here. This pawn can be actually taken, etc, etc, yeah? Yeah. So, crazy game. Oh, come on, 92. Take away the squares, prepare g4. c4. Okay, the guy, okay, he's obsessed about this h6 pawn. Again, 92, because he cannot take this pawn, because you have pin. Knight f4, g5. f6 is mandatory, absolutely mandatory, you need to break up this pawn chain. Knight h3, now you're winning again, and yeah, here you have to play this. Okay, but it's not easy, yeah? Not easy. The idea is rook b3. And if he takes, then wow, this is beautiful because of the king on d8, yeah? And boom, everything comes together. Everything comes together for you beautifully, yeah? So this is what you should be looking for when your king is stuck in the center and the pieces are underdeveloped, okay? You should be looking for ways to break through and open the files for your rooks. Okay? Yeah. So his king is in the center, big red herring, the position is not closed. Immediately think. Pawn breaks, open the files for the rooks. So rook g3. It was possible to take this pawn, and then knight f7 protects this pawn and this pawn, and then it's very difficult for you to break through. Okay, black in fact might be better. Okay, knight h5, no idea why. Yes, c5. See, you finally, saw this idea and make it work. Okay, not necessary, but still. Rook f4 is a very beautiful move, yeah. And d6 and e5, and his king collapses. Okay, d6 I think is logical. Wait, why cannot you do it here? Because king goes to c7, yeah, that's why. Ah, okay. And black is absolutely okay now. This is absolutely wrong. How can you play this move, disconnect your rooks, and allow white to have all these active rooks? Of course you play king b6. Yeah, you still play rook e7, but it's not so clear. This knight is protected, this rook is misplaced. It's absolutely unclear. Rook f7, good. Knight d3, check. Ah, we're not following the game, okay. So king c8, yeah, hit the pawn, yeah, hit the pawn, remove the knights. And it's unclear again, my god, wow, what a game. Bishop b3 is wrong, yeah. So now you're much worse, because nice spot, but you also need to play concrete chess. You need to hit concrete targets, like early in the middle game, where you had the pawn breaks, yeah. You need to be very precise with the points of striking. Now you're completely lost. Okay. King c6. Of course you play king c2 and grab this pawn. Correct. Rook, yes. Rook coming from there, but not here. Although it doesn't matter, yeah. Okay, this is... Wait, you lost this game. I thought you won this game, man. All right. So what happens if you don't follow through with your attack, or if you don't follow through and use your rook on the 7th and hit targets actually? Okay. You gotta do the final blow, man. You gotta finish them off. You gotta take those key pawns, break through those key structures to deliver a mate, or to take the pawn on e5. Okay. Yeah. So what you should do now is, again, there were a couple of critical moments in this game, and you kind of spent a little bit too many tempos, too many moves with uncertainty what to do next. So if you're not certain what to do, identify a target and try to hit it, yeah? Identify a target that you can hit. Again, see, because he didn't play a4 in the beginning, his knight ended up here, okay? So, this is good piece. And it restricts your rook completely and protects this pawn. So if you played this move and got this pawn, you pretty much remove this knight. Okay, he can play rook f8, but right, what can he do? For example, he plays, I don't know, b5, yeah? Here, king b8, yeah, with idea rook a7. So if you take, okay, you can at least suffer for something, yeah? Now you're at least pawn up. And then you play e5, open the bishop. Yeah, it's probably not winning, but it's better than what you got. So at this point, you should be, running for Yeah, but definitely rook e7, okay? And definitely in this position, you do not trade the queens. You do not trade the queens regardless of what's happening, because you need the attack. So this position, queen c3, this is critical position that you should feel. And now either e5, d6, or d6 and take, yeah? Yeah, it's not easy, but this is a very human move. Yeah, unfortunately you have to take it, yeah? Because if you do the check, then king runs here, and you cannot break through. So this was the moment. Good move. And I don't know about the CD. What is this move? Rook c1. Wow. This is where calculation skills come in, okay? So not tactical skills, but calculation skills. So I strongly suggest you get the book on calculation and start looking for these intermediate moves. You're rook down, but you're taking down this pawn, and with it, potentially this whole king, yeah? Then you take with the rook, of course. So rook f8. If you take with the rook, then he has a check. That's the problem, yeah? So rook f8. If he hits your rook here, check, then you can do this check. Check when the knight, king comes here, and then you move the rook. Because you have these two pawns, they're worth the rook, absolutely. And queen c3. All right, so what you gotta do is you gotta analyze this game more in depth, okay? The opening part, the pawn structure part, and this middle game. And first try to analyze it without the engine, okay? And then compare with the engine, all right? And every game goes like this. Identify critical moments where you think you made bad moves which cost you the game. You analyze yourself first, then you compare it with the engine. Look at what you missed. Most likely it will be tactics, okay, or some intermediate move. And learn, okay? And just keep doing. And at some point you will get like really good. And you'll stop losing and start winning. All right. All right, gentlemen, hopefully everybody enjoyed it. And well, of course I know how it's not to having a girlfriend effects. It's actually, I think happiness takes a huge role. If you're missing something, if you're missing girlfriend, you're pretty much being not very happy, okay? And if you're not being happy, you're not going to be able to do a good job. So when I was single, I was extremely unhappy. That obviously ruined my game. I was actually looking for a girlfriend in some different places instead of focusing on the tournament or preparation. Okay, I've been very bad with women. Okay, very bad, and I'm so happy that I met my wife. And it really influenced my game. Okay, so in order to play chess well, you actually need to have everything covered so you can focus on the game. All right. There is a difference between having a girlfriend and being married. Okay, there is a huge difference. If you're married and you have kids, forget about being a pro player then, pretty much. Okay. The Halfman rule. Read on that. Okay, there is a famous Halfman rule, and but I don't think it's actually related to being married. I think it's related to being how old you are. Okay. Because if you're younger, you definitely is your best years. Okay, you pick everything up fast, you learn fast, you play a lot, you don't have so many life responsibilities. Okay, so I think that's probably was a bigger factor. All right, all right, guys. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. But then you realize you should not think about being a world champion. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. All right. Well, you think you were happy, yeah, but were you really? Yeah, depends. It's transition in phases. Yeah, you get something and you lose something, or you have something, you don't have something. Yeah, and it's always transitions. It's like energy states. Yeah, liquid, gas, and solid states, and same like in life. Yeah. First, we are in this extremely volatile air phase, then we're in liquid phase, and now we're in the solid phase, yeah? And pretty much. You were slimmer. Yeah, everybody is, yeah? Everybody was slimmer, pretty much. Okay, that's pretty much it, okay? But not happier? Well, again, it's individual stuff, yeah? Individual stuff. You know, having good friends, you know, is also great. Yeah. But for some people, you know, having this personal life covered is extremely important. Like for me, some others they don't care because they have good friendship system, support system, etc. They don't need them. Yeah. And again, it also there's different priorities. All right, guys, that was the team event for today. The other team event will be probably on Saturday. My Saturday will be absolutely crazy because I have like several students lined up. My God, I'm now thinking about it. How did that happen? But okay, let's be professional. Let's make it work. And tomorrow, that means I gotta get some energy for the Saturday. Okay. Um, um, yeah. All right, guys. Have fun. Good night. Good evening, and enjoy your life. Okay.